The Detroit Lions, as we all know, recently traded away their longtime franchise quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And today I wanted to talk about what's next for the Lions and what they should do moving forward. But before we do get started, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button as it really helps out the channel and it shows your support for this content. If you guys also watch the content on here consistently and you guys enjoy the videos on here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss out on any new videos. I am also trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and it would mean a lot to me if we could reach that goal, as these videos take a lot of time and hard work to make. And as a special, I will react to my first 2 videos I ever made once we hit our goal. So if you guys want to see that and enjoyed the content on here, make sure to subscribe. But with that being said, let's get started. And I want to start out by talking about the Detroit Lions roster. And let's start out with Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff, as we all know, was very recently traded to the Lions in the Stafford trade. And Jared Goff last year had some consistency issues. And by no means, I wouldn't call him the worst quarterback in the league, but he definitely has his issues. Either way, though, he passed for 3,952 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, completing 67% of his passes. Jared Goff's his future with the team, it's very uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen with him. But either way, Jared Goff, I will say this. He may not be an amazing quarterback, but he's not terrible either. Anyways, moving on, I want to talk about DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift, he had a pretty nice rookie season, and he is a pretty solid rookie running back, as he had 521 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, averaging 5 yards a carry in 2020. Moving on, I want to talk about Kenny Golladay. Now, Kenny Golladay, as we all know, is one of the best receivers in the league, and we all know how good he can be when healthy. And unfortunately, this year, he was not great, as he struggled with injury and only played in 5 games. And in those 5 games, he received for 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, and caught 62.5% of his targets. He is a receiver they have to bring back in free agency, and hopefully for the Lions, they do bring him back, because he is going to be a very big part of the Lions if they want to have success moving forward. Moving on, I want to talk about Marvin Jones. And Marvin Jones is a pretty underrated and very solid receiver, and is just a pretty good receiver in general. How else do I put it? This past season, with Kenny Golladay out for a lot of the year, well, he had to take on a bigger role, and he did a pretty decent job of it, receiving for 978 yards, 9 touchdowns, catching 66% of his targets. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with him in the Lions in free agency, but he is a guy that they might want to bring back in free agency, as he is a very solid and productive and underrated receiver. Moving on, I want to talk about Danny Amendola, and as a Patriots fan, I like Danny Amendola. I think he was a pretty solid slot receiver this year, and while by any means he was not amazing, he was still not bad, receiving for 602 yards, catching 67% of his targets. Moving on, I want to talk about TJ Hawkinson. And TJ Hawkinson, he is one of the best young tight ends in the NFL, and he's just one of the best tight ends in the NFL in general, as he is a pretty good receiving tight end, and as he had 723 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, catching 66% of his passes. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, I want to talk about Jamie Collins. And Jamie Collins, I guess you could say he is kind of infamous for not playing well on the outside of on other teams besides the Patriots, and just being like a very big fit in the Patriots system and all. But Jamie Collins, he's still a pretty okay linebacker, as he had 1 interception, 6 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles in 2020. Moving on, let's talk about Jeff Okudah. Now, Jeff Okudah unfortunately hardly played in his rookie season, and even then, when he did play, he was not exactly good in those games. But hey, he still has time, and that is something we just got to give him time, since, he had an injury-riddled rookie season, and a lot of cornerbacks, they need time to get used to the NFL, as cornerback is one of the hardest positions to play in football. Moving on to the final player I want to talk about Duron Harmon. And Duron Harmon is not amazing, but he's still an okay player, as he had 2 interceptions and 5 passes defended this past season. Anyways, Now, the Lions, they just made a massive move, as we all know, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go in the next few years. First things first, let's talk about Jared Goff and what the quarterback situation could be in this upcoming season, after the Super Bowl and, just in the 2021 season. Now, Jared Goff, to me, I don't know if he really is going to be the franchise quarterback, and I'm not going to count on him being the franchise quarterback. I mean, after the Rams lost to the Packers in the divisional round, it was clear Sean McVay was not a fan of Jared Goff, and he just felt like it was time to move on from Jared Goff, as before the Stafford trade went down, he was actually planning on having Goff and John Wolford battling it out in camp. And if John Wolford is going to be big competition to Jared Goff, that's how you know he's probably not a franchise quarterback. And no offense to Jared Goff and all, and Jared Goff, I'm going to make this clear, and I've made it clear a few times already in the video. Jared Goff is not a terrible quarterback. He is not the worst in the NFL at all. However, he is inconsistent, and that is a problem. And to me, he's an above average quarterback at best. And if I'm the Lions, I would probably select a quarterback with my first round pick this year. And to me, I view Jared Goff as a very good backup, or just a bridge quarterback to help, mentor a quarterback that they do take in the first round, presuming they do, select a quarterback with the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to try and restructure Goff's deal to probably try and clear up some cap space. But yeah, that's what I have. Those are my thoughts on the quarterback situation. They should probably draft a quarterback in the first round. Now, anyways, going to the free agents, they are going to have to bring back Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones and Danny Amendola. Those are really just some of their three most important guys. Now, they can always try and franchise tag Kenny Golladay and then try to work something out, but they need to bring him back somehow, whether it's re-signing him or it's franchise tagging him. Marvin Jones and Danny Amendola are also going to be free agents, as I said before, and if you ask me, those are guys that I'm pretty sure, Marvin Jones is a guy that you might want to bring back. I mean, it really depends, but if he's asking for too much, then do not bring him back. But if not, then I'd probably want to bring back Marvin Jones, as he can be a very good number 2 or number 3 receiver. And I do think they will probably cut guys who they feel just aren't going to be, too useful for them, and guys they just feel or just do whatever they can to get as much cap space available. But I do not expect the Lions to be too active in free agency, and I really just see them aiming to the draft to address their needs, and then just re-signing, important guys that they really feel like bringing back. Now, on to the draft. Now, in the draft, I mean, the Lions can go, they can always select a quarterback with their first round pick. They can try and improve that defense, or they can select a receiver. But to me, I really see them selecting a quarterback or a defensive player with this pick. And some draft targets to me they could take are Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, maybe Trey Lance, Devontae Smith if they really feel like taking a wide receiver. Micah Parsons could be a guy on the defensive end. They do take if they do choose to try and improve that defense, because they just need help on that defense, as it was ranked the worst defense in the league overall. Jalen Waddle could also be a receiver they do take. Rondale Moore and Amon-Ra St. Brown, along with Terrence Marshall, are also some receivers that maybe they do take in later rounds, but I do think they should definitely try and address their needs in the draft of quarterback, maybe a wide receiver, plus the defense, obviously. The Lions will be a pretty interesting team this offseason. For the first time in, I'm pretty sure 9 years, hopefully I'll correct that while I'm editing this probably, they will be without Matthew Stafford. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But to really wrap this video up, the Lions, to me, they should definitely look to the draft to, just satisfy their needs, and they should just to make the team better. And if you ask me, I don't expect them to be too active in free agency aside from just bringing back guys. And if you ask me, I would also probably take a quarterback with their first round pick, because I don't think Jared Goff is exactly a franchise quarterback. And I mean, his stint on the Rams kind of proved that. And I mean, I think we can all agree that Jared Goff is like an average or an above average quarterback at best. But with that being said, that will be the official end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. Also, subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content on here. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me if we could reach that goal. These videos take a lot of hard work to make. It would really mean a lot to me, obviously, to reach that goal and to see all that hard work amount to 1,000 subscribers. And as a special, I will react to my first 2 videos I ever made on this channel. So if you guys want to see that and enjoy the content on here, make sure to subscribe. But anyways, with that being said, I'm out, you guys.